Rob, the music is so important to these movies. What's on your iPod right now? Any particular songs on your playlist?
I always sound so pretentious when I
Me too. Get pretentious.
Oh man, I hope I can remember some people now. There's this band called Pato, like this 70s band, which I really like, and a pianist called Ahmed Jamal. I can't remember anyone else. So.
I'm gonna have to look those up because I don't know how to spell it.
That's so stupid. And Katy Perry.
Rob, can you talk a little bit about your last moments of over here? Hi. Could you talk a little bit about your last moments of ever playing Edward? We heard it was in the woods, and then Kristen made a great joke, and also about the scene where you finally turn her.
She made a great joke in the woods.
That she said I should have picked Jacob.
She ran off.
She ran off and
Chasing
said I
after.
should have picked Jacob.
After everybody was crying.
She's done that throughout the whole series. That's sorry, what was the second part of the
And
question?
the second part about turning her and that scene with the baby being born.
Yeah, the scene, the birth scene. I mean, I read the script before I read the book on this one. It was the first time I'd done that, and so I read that scene, being kind of astonished that. I mean, I knew it was kind of crazy, the story, but I couldn't really believe that it was actually written down and we were going to do it, and it was terrifying going into it. But it ended up being this kind of, I don't know, it was one of the most incredible scenes to do in this movie. I mean, there's definitely a kind of R-rated, or maybe NC-17 rated version of a few scenes in this movie. But it was just incredible to do that. Like after having, because of the violence and stuff in it, it gave you a lot of freedom in the scene, and having every character so desperate, it became something very, very different. I mean, especially for Edward, who's always kind of held back, and he's a pacifist, and he's very objective and logical about everything. To do this thing when you're suddenly playing Edward stuck between a kind of emaciated dummy's legs chewing through a placenta and getting cream cheese all over your face, and having a strawberry jam, and then pulling out a 3-week-old baby afterwards with a wig on. It's like something out of Buñuel movie or something.
In your last moments of playing Edward, what was that like for you?
I mean, the very last moments I was in St. Thomas in the Caribbean, just on the beach, and it was kind of incredible. It was like the only time I'd ever experienced anything like that in a Twilight movie. But I think the last scene with everyone, it was kind of horrible because it was freezing cold. It was after 2 weeks of night shoots, and I think everyone just sort of scarped afterwards. Like, okay, that's the end of Twilight, and it was 5 a.m. It was freezing cold and pouring with rain, and it's like, at least it was kind of symbolic of how a lot of movies were shot, just freezing cold, pouring with rain all the time. But yeah, we kind of, I mean, it doesn't really feel like the end of it yet. Because the press tours become so huge and you're always being asked about it all the time, it really feels like this feels like part of the process to me of making the movies. And so until the last one's released, I don't really feel like I've finalized anything.